So that last week we did up to slide number 90, and that is leading and lagging indicators when it comes to the organization. Right here we say another way to think about matrix and measures is to measure something that can suggest action, or whether they simply report on situations that one can do nothing about. This focus is on using performance measures to help managers to take decisions, right? So that we were talking about this matrix. So when it comes to this leading and lagging indicators, so it's simply as they have mentioned, these are the measures, something that can suggest action, right? So that these leading and lagging indicators may suggest some action, or whether they simply report on situation, or else they may simply report on situation that one can do nothing about. This focus is, they say, on using performance measures to help managers to make decisions. So basically, based on these leading and lagging indicators, managers can make decisions. So when it comes to these leading indicators, we say they are measures that report on situations that are causally related to outcomes that you desire. So when it comes to these leading indicators, they are related to your outcome of the organization, right? So that is what you desire about. So lagging indicators, on the other hand, describe situations that can't be changed. So when it comes to these leading indicators, we can change it. But when it comes to lagging indicators, simply we can't change. Here, as far as these leading indicators are concerned, here you are given some, we have adapted some examples, right? There are 4 organizations that we have adapted, come up with, and first one is 3M, right? So what are these leading indicators for 3M? Number of innovations. Can we change it? Can you change that? Yes. So we can either reduce or increase the number of innovations of the organization, right? As I have mentioned earlier, these leading indicators, obviously we can change, right? So that when it comes to 3M, these are the leading indicators. Number of innovations, innovation, right? How many new products or the services they come up with, and number of patents. Patents again, right? The rights they have taken for the number products or the services, right? The unique products or the services. So anyone, what you call that, invented something new, they can ask for patent rights. So that the second leading indicator for 3M is number of patents. The third one, customer service perception. How customers think of your service as an organization. For 3M, these are the leading indicators. So that basically when it comes to these leading indicators, the organization can change it, right? They can change either by reducing or increasing number of innovations and number of patents. And again, they can influence on the customer perception, right? By having more service orientation, or sometimes perhaps have price reductions, various service offerings, etc., right? So these leading indicators, basically organization can change, right? So when it comes to Coca-Cola, so what are their leading indicators? Number of cases shipped. Cases, so number of bottles. They put the exact number of bottles in a case. So basically, I think 12 or 15. I'm not quite sure about. So that kind of number of cases, right? So 12 bottle case or 15 bottle case, that number, right? So 1 million, perhaps 100 million or 100,000, whatever, right? Number of cases shipped, and growth in the new market. So how much of growth they have acquired or they have what you call that reported in new markets, and then brand growth. So the number of new customers they have uh, catch up, right, in various markets. Right? So these are the leading indicators for Coca-Cola: number of cases shipped, growth in new markets, and brand growth. So when it comes to sprint, so what are their leading indicators? The customer satisfaction, brand recognition, volume growth of high-end clients, right? All these, can we change customer satisfaction? Yes, we can, right? If you offer superior service, obviously the customers are satisfied. So customer satisfaction is there, right? You have to work on that. So what happens if you provided lousy service? The customers are not satisfied, right? So all based on your performance when it comes to customer service, right? So that we can change it. Either we can improve it or either we can decrease it, right? Then brand recognition. So brand recognition, where that happens, so you may carry out promotional campaigns, you may carry out advertising campaigns, you may carry out the web related promotion, etc., etc., right? So that is there. Again, you can change, right, all these various campaigns. Either you can increase them or decrease them. Then volume of high-end clients, the number of or the volume growth of high-end clients, right? So the number of growth in high-end clients, right? So if they increase that number, that is good for the organization. If they decrease it, that is not good, right? Again, they can control it, right? They can either increase it or decrease it. Then fourthly, for Facebook, so what are their leading indicators? Number of active users, right? So when it comes to Facebook, the leading indicator is number of active users. How many users in inactive status, right? And again, number of sign-ups. How many new customers or the users sign up, right? So these are their leading indicators. So remember, so when it comes to these leading indicators, we can change them by either by increasing or decreasing, right? Yeah. So when it comes to these lagging indicators, right? Here we have given the definition: an indicator that follows an event, right? So that how we can define the lagging indicator: an indicator that follows an event, right? So when something happens, if that follows, if something is there, if that follows an event, that is what we call lagging indicators, right? Previous example of infections caused by hand washing rate, right? So what is the lagging indicator here? Infection, right? Infection as a lagging indicator caused by hand washing rate. So when hand washing rate is higher, what happens? Infections are low, right? Lagging indicator is pretty much low. When the hand washing rate is increased, what happens? Infection. I'm sorry, right? When the hand washing rate is high, low infection. When the hand washing rate is low, high infection, right? So you know that this COVID-19 case. So that's why when people people adapted this more positive approach towards it, right? Washing hands, wearing mask, and so on and so forth, right? So then, so we can reduce the infection, right? So if we don't do that, what happens? Lagging indicator, If you don't all these washing, hand washing or the wearing face mask, and so infection will go up, right? So that is lagging indicator that means cause some kind of a result, right? Right. So that infection is lagging and the washing rate is leading indicator, right? When the washing, because that is what we can change, right? When we wash our hands, when we wear our face masks and so on and so forth, that is the leading indicator, and we can decrease the infection or the lagging indicator, right? Second one, unemployment rate, that is the lagging indicator, right? That the economy has been doing poorly. So when the economy is doing poor, what happens is unemployment rate is high, right? So unemployment rate is lagging indicator. The economic performance is leading indicator here, right? So that patients with ventilator requires pneumonia signifies that we may not have done followed the necessary precautions for the patient, right? So another example, financial statements are lagging indicators. They show results of spending, right? If you take a financial statement, that financial statement itself is a lagging indicator, right? That shows the result of spending, right? It shows us how we have spent for last 1 year or so, right? So that when it comes to lagging indicator is that we can't control it, right? We simply can't control it. But leading indicators we can control, we can change, we can increase, we can decrease it, right? So next we said balance scorecard and process measures. So here when it comes to balance scorecard, we already discussed Kaplan and Norton, right? They are the authors, right, of this balance scorecard approach, Kaplan and Norton. Kaplan and Norton balance scorecard approach, when we considered how balance scorecard could be used to define organization strategy, we had a look at that earlier, right? Very briefly we talk about it, how we can use to define an organization strategy using balance scorecard. The approach is even more popular as a tool to define managerial responsibilities and to align the goals and measures used to evaluate the performance of managers. Not only that, this particular BSC, right, balance scorecard approach, even more popular as a tool to define managerial responsibilities, and we can utilize it to define managerial responsibilities and to align the goals and measures used to evaluate the performance of the managers, and to align the goals and measures used to evaluate the performance of the managers too, right? So here we have given some example, right? Financial measures. So basically when it comes to balance scorecard, there are 4 different measures, right? First one, financial measures. How do we look to shareholders, right? So once they analyze our financial measures or financial performance, the shareholders have a kind of a what we call that, how can I say that, picture of us, right? Here we say how do we look to our shareholders, right? Then the second one, internal business measures. What must we excel at, right? With regard to our internal business matter, how measures how we must excel at activities we perform within the organization. Third one, innovation and learning measures, right? We continue to improve, and create value. right? Why do you have innovations and learning measures? Why innovations and learning is important? Because that is what that brings continuous improvements and the value creation, right? So these innovation and learning measures are important. Then fourthly, customer measures. How do customers see us, right? So these are the four measures or the indicators that proposed by Kaplan and Norton with their balance scorecard. So here you have the complete picture of the financial, internal business processes, learning and growth, and customer. So before that, we'll have a look what this balance scorecard is all about, right? So as they have mentioned, the balance scorecard is a workshop technique, right? Balance scorecard is a workshop technique for establishing the most useful high-level measures by which to monitor your company's or the unit's progress and performance against its strategic goals, right? You know that we have strategic goals, so you can by adapting the balance scorecard, so that is a workshop technique, we can measure by which to monitor the company's or the business unit progress and performance, right? We can measure organization progress and performance against our strategic goals, right? You know strategic goals. We have discussed that very lengthy manner, right? You know strategy formation, what is strategy, how we can formulate the strategy, what we have to do, how we have discussed all this, right? So that by having this balance scorecard approach, obviously we can measure, right? That's a useful high-level measures by which to monitor your company's progress and performance. You can measure organization progress and performance against organization strategic goals, right? And process management tool is a BCS is a balance scorecard is a process management tool, right? Second thing, it's a great team building activity, right? So it's a tool that we can make use for creating a big, good, great team, right? And process management tool, and when you do it properly, you end up with an action plan that's fully aligned to the company's strategic plan. That again, that is a process management tool, balance scorecard. When you do it properly, when you do proper uh, balance scorecard, you end up with an action plan. You end up with an action plan that's fully aligned the company's strategic plan. So that the action plan align with your organization's strategic plan, right? Here you can see we have the vision and the strategy, right? That's the core requirement for any organization, right? Your vision and the strategy will communicate all the employees what you should do, right? So when it comes to this financial indicators, right? Measures. To succeed financially, how should we appear to our shareholders, right? How should we appear to our shareholders? For that, we have objectives, measures, targets, and initiatives, right? Right. So secondly, we have internal business processes to satisfy our shareholders and customers. What business processes must we excel at, right? So that to satisfy our shareholders and customers, what business processes we must excel at, what processes we should do fantastically to our shareholders and customers. For that, again, we have objectives, measures, targets, and initiatives. Right? Third one, learning and growth measure. To achieve our vision, how we how will we sustain our ability to change and improve, right? To achieve our vision, how will we sustain our ability to change and improve? Why learn and growth is important to change and improve, right? To achieve our vision and how we sustain our ability to change, and in order to achieve our vision, we need to achieve our vision and sustain it, we need to change and improve, right? Otherwise, we won't be able to achieve our vision, right? Even for that, we have objectives, measures, targets, and initiatives. Lastly, customer, right? I can't read it, right? Here we say customer to achieve our vision. I can see, right? To achieve our vision, how should we appear to our customers? So, in order to achieve our vision of the organization, how we should appear to our customers, right? So, these are the four measures that proposed by the Norton and Kaplan and Norton, right? So, what are the objectives here? So, right here we say to create picture of your unit performance relative to vision and strategy in four main areas or perspectives. So, here we have four main areas. So, four perspectives, right? So, what are they? Here, as you can see on the screen, financial, internal, learning and growth, customer or stakeholder. So, these are the four perspectives, right? Or four main areas, right? So, by looking at this, we can create a picture of our unit of the organization performance relative to visions and the strategy, right? So, relative to our vision and the strategy, so we can create a picture of our organization performance, right, in these four main areas, right? What are these four main areas? Financial, right? Internal business process, learning and growth, and customer or stakeholder, right? Long term, you are looking to improve internal processes. In longer period of time, what organization do? They are looking to improve the internal processes, right? Do we do that? Do we try to improve our internal process? Yes, pretty much. So that's for example, right? Wherever you go for your internship or the what you call that the training or the to do your job and so on and so forth, you come up with certain measures, right? They have performed in order to improve internal processes, right? To reduce the cost, to improve the customer service, to penetrate the new markets, right? To satisfy the customers. So there are various things that they perform to improve internal process. And again, they work on motivate employees, right? And develop better information systems and improve customer satisfaction, right? Have better progress monitoring and see and improve financial position, right? So all these are objectives of any organization, right? So why this balance scorecard is useful for us? So we can say that organization or organizational units, right? So remember, the balance scorecard not only for the organization but also for organization and unit is small segment of the organization, we can apply, right? Can often get fixated on single measure of performance, whereas in fact, to fulfill their purpose on a sustained basis, they need to monitor a balanced range of indicators. But the most of the organizations, right, they may have the very selected number of performance measures, right? Maybe they would say profitability, how much of profit they have created. But this limited number of measures are not enough, right? So to fulfill their purpose on the sustained basis, they need to monitor a balanced range of indicators, right? For example, as you can see on the screen, right, if they really worry about these financial indicators only, what happens to the other important perspective of the organization, like internal business processes, leading and growth, and the customer? So that is not a very healthy or the sound approach, isn't it? So the balance scorecard suggests what the key indicators should be and provide a method for identifying, right, in this regard, identifying specific measures and goals. So in these four perspectives, they offer the specific measures and goals translated from particular unit vision, so the strategy, right? So based on the vision and the strategy, they basically come up with specific measures, right? Here you can see these financial objectives, measures, targets, initiatives. When it comes to the second perspective, internal business processes, again they have objectives, measures, targets, and initiatives, right? That is there. So what sort of resources you require for this? Here we say we need time, right? The time to produce, we need time, right? The time to produce this will be significantly reduced if elements such as strategy and vision already exist. So in order to um, implement this, right, this balance scorecard, it is very easy if you have already um, what you call that, formulated your strategy and the vision. So you know that almost all the organization nowadays, they have vision and the related strategy in place, right? So that it is very easy. It won't take that time for them to have this four perspective as described in the balance scorecard. Yeah, once set up, it is an ongoing health check on your multi-agency unit and will need to become part of people's everyday job. So once we implemented this, right, this balance scorecard, it will become a kind of a people's part of your employees everyday job, like, right? So you need how many number of people you need to implement this? At least they say 50, right, people, and you need a whiteboard or a flip chart, right? So that is what all about balance scorecard, right? So here we say 6.4, figure 6.4, that is for the electronic circuit incorporation or ECI, right? We have adapted this Kaplan and Norton article on 1992, right? Here they say the figure 6.4 illustrates a scorecard of hypothetical company discussing Kaplan and Norton on February 1992 article in Electronic Circuit Incorporation or ECI, right? So, for example, this ECI, Electronic Circuit Incorporation, this hypothetical organization, right? When it comes to their, they have this four perspective, right? When it comes to the first one, this financial perspective, so they have given us the goals and the measures, right? So what are the goals? The first one they have mentioned survive, right? So what is the measure? Cash flow. And the second goal, when it comes to financial perspective, succeed, right? So what is the measure? Quarterly sales growth and operating income by division. So various divisions, they should have quarterly sales growth and operating income, right? What is the third goal when it comes to financial perspective? Prosper, right? So what is the measure? Increase market share and return on investment, right? Increase market share. So if you penetrate more customers and increase the market share, that is the prosper. And again, return on investment, ROI, right? How much of money you may make based on your investment. That's the financial perspective, the goal and the measure, right? So when it comes to internal business perspective, what are the goals? Technology capability. That is the goal, right? So how they can measure it? Manufacturing geometry versus competition, right? Technology capability, how do they measure? That is the goal. Manufacturing geometry versus competition. The second goal is manufacturing experience, right? Manufacturing experience. How they can measure it? Cycle time, unit cost, yield. What do you mean by cycle time? How long it will take for them to complete one job, or else how long it will take for them to complete one transaction, or else how long it will take for them to produce one unit line. That's the cycle time, right? And unit cost, how much it would cost for them to have one single product or a service, right? And yield, right? These are the measures. What is the fourth goal when it comes to internal business perspective? Design productivity, right? So silicon efficiency, engineering efficiency, right? The fourth one, new product introduction, right? Actual, what is the measure? Actual introduction schedule versus plan, right? What is the actual introduction schedule? And they can compare it with this plan one, right? So likewise, the third one, innovation and leading perspective. What are the goals? Technology, leadership, right? Time to develop next generation, right? So manufacturing learning is the second goal. Process time to maturity. Third goal is product focus. Percent of products that equal 80% sales, right? So what is the innovations and learning perspectives? Fourth goal, time to market, right? How they can measure it? New product introduction versus competition, right? So likewise, the fourth perspective, that is customer perspective, we say, what are the goals? When it comes to customer perspective, new products, how you can measure it? Percent, the percent of sales from new products, right? Percentage of sales from new products, percent of sales from proprietary products. Like proprietary products in the sense you have already owned, right? New product. Then response supply. That's the second goal. What is the measures? One time delivery defined by customer. Sorry, on time delivery, right? On time delivery. What is the third goal? Preferred supply. What is the measure? Share of key accounts purchases ranking by key accounts. And fourth goal is customer partnership. How you can measure it? Number of cooperative engineering efforts. So this is how Kaplan and Norton try to explain us this four perspectives with regard to this hypothetical organization electronic circuit incorporation of ECI, right? Uh, right. Next we take balance scorecard to work. In their October issue 1993, HPR article titled "Putting the Balance Scorecard to Work," Kaplan and Norton offered an overview of how one could link the balance scorecard to corporate strategies. By new articles, they are published in 1993 in HPR. There's Kaplan and Norton offered an overview of how one could link the balance scorecard to corporate strategies, how they could link balance scorecard to corporate strategies. Figure 6.5 provides an overview of the approach they propose, right? So this figure 6.5 provides us an overview, right? So where right? So I think this is the figure 6.5, right? Uh, right. So the overall pattern of familiar to everyone. So you will say Kaplan note for the overview of how could link the balance curve. Figure 6.5 provides, right, an overview of the approach they propose, right. This is the overview of the approach that Kaplan and Norton proposed. The overall pattern is similar to anyone who has worked in strategy and measurement, and we have already described it when we introduced the measurement. We have done it, right? We have taken that each and every measurement and we describe it. The particular aspect that reflects the Kaplan and Norton's contribution is the emphasis on defining four different types of strategies, right? Four different types of strategies, and generating four different types of measures, right? So, what are these four different types of strategies, right? Shareholders, customers, internal managers of the process, ability to innovate and grow, right? So that is the strategy, right? And so then they have these goals. If the strategy is to succeed, what are the critical success factors that we must achieve? So in order to succeed with these strategies, so they mention, so what are the critical success factors that they must achieve, right? So with regard to shareholders, financial success factors, that is obvious, right? The financial report should be very healthy and a productive one for the shareholders, right? Then when it comes to customers, customer success factors, right? When it comes to internal managers of processes, process success factors, right? An ability to innovate and grow, innovation and learning success factors. So these are the goals, right? They have strategy formulated, and in order to achieve that, there are critical success factors that they have to achieve. Those are the goals, right? Then, with the balance scorecard approach, these critical measures to monitor to assure that our goals are made, right? So, in the balance scorecard, what they will look at is they have these critical measurements to monitor to assure that our goals are met, right? Whether these goals are met, they would look into whether these goals are met with the balance scorecard. When it comes to financial success factors, these financial measures. When it comes to customer success factors, customer measures. Process success factors, process measures. measure. Innovation and learning success factors, growth measure. Right? This is how Kaplan and Norton propose us to align our strategy to the performance of the organization. Right? Uh, in year 2000, Kaplan and Norton came out with a new book and another HBR article having trouble with your style. Then mapping. In year 2000, they came up with new articles saying if you are struggling, if you are troubled with your strategy, then you have to map it, right? The new article expanded their description of how one align measures and strategic goals, how they can align these measures and the strategic goals. They suggest what they term balanced scorecard strategy maps. So they termed it as balanced scorecard strategy maps. In addition, they introduce a hierarchical model suggests that, right,